Hi there, it's Moira McDonald. I'm going to do a really quick video on distressing. Oops, can't even get any further into my table. Right, I've got a piece of watercolour card which is without doubt one of the better things to distress ink on because it takes it really well. This is not the colour it should be, but it doesn't, for the purposes of this, it doesn't really matter. This has got vintage photo on it, but not a lot. I'm going to use frayed burlap distress ink to do this. What I intend to do is basically colour the card, stamp the card, and then my ultimate plan is to die cut it. I bought, and I got a really good price on it, the Tim Holtz Alterations pocket for putting pockets into my junk journal, and I thought it would be quite useful to basically colour the card to use and maybe stamp it, and well, you'll see what I mean as I go on. Right, I'm going to use frayed burlap for basic colouring. Now when you're going to use distress, there are a few different things that you can use to apply distress ink to card. You can use the brushes. I have the Clarity set. It's an expensive way of doing it, and it does make a really nice finish, but unless you're going to do a phenomenal amount of distressing and you're really pernickety about how it looks, I wouldn't go to that expense. I would buy the Tim Holtz or the Ranger distress tools. I also have, if I can find them, you get little pads that you buy, mini ink blending foam pads, that basically that peels off. It's kind of like a velcro pad stapled to the wooden handle, and you just apply your wee pad. These are not overly expensive, they're like £4 or £5, but you're getting 20 at a time, and I've just got ink all over my finger, but not to worry. They are, in my opinion, the best for doing this. Bear in mind, I am just an ordinary Joe like yourself. I am no one fancy, but I've tried a few different things and I think these are the best. Now, when you are applying your ink to your card to get your ink onto your card, a fairly light hand, and by fairly light hand I mean fairly light. Obviously you've got to make contact with the card, but you don't want to be giving it like that, because if you do that, all you're going to see is massive big sweeps of the ink. So you need to be fairly light-handed. It is also very advisable, like I said, to use a card. If you try to do it in paper, it's not going to come up as nice, but again, depends what kind of look you're going for. Certainly for me, I wouldn't do it on paper, because I know you would probably almost certainly rip the paper when you're doing it. So you come in at a very slight angle with your brush or your blending tool, fairly light. You will always have darker edges, but that is something that you will aim for. In fact, when I'm done, I'm going to go around the edges with a different colour, simply because I want to make sure it's looking good. Some more ink, and you don't need to give it that when you're touching the ink. You just need to make sure you've applied enough ink lightly. So again, we start off, ideally work on something that's slippy. This is not a Ranger matte, although Rangers do make mattes like this. This, I think, is actually sold as some sort of oven matte, you know, like you cut it to the size of your baking tray to line your baking tray, but it's ideal for this. And indeed, I have seen a number of crafters using these. This wasn't a, oh hey, Moira came up with that idea. No, she didn't. Very few things Moira actually comes up with, but if she does, it's really nice when folk acknowledge that Moira came up with an idea. But anyway, that aside, let's get back to this. Something else I would say is distress ink itself it's water reactive. It's maybe inappropriate to say it's water reactive. It might be better to say it's fluid reactive. It will react to grease on your finger. It will react to any fluid that goes near it subsequently if you do add water. And you know, it's that I was thinking about the videos I've seen of folk doing distressing, and quite often they get themselves, if they've watched a Tim Holtz video, they'll get themselves all swept up in the, and then you splash water. You don't need to splash water. It depends what you're looking for from distress ink. He does it because it suits whatever it is he's making at the time. Now keep your hands still light. I'm leaning on a piece of paper because I know if I put my finger in that, you're going to have fingerprints. So there's absolutely no point in doing it unless I want all my things to have 3 or 4 Moira fingerprints on them. And quite frankly, I'm sorry, no they don't. I would quite like my things to look as professional as Tim Holtz's do. Do you know, I'm going to come in for this side this time. Now there's also, because you're coming in off of a mat, you're going to get a measure of ink obviously on the mat, which means that the underside of whatever you're working on is going to get some ink on it. There's not a great deal you can do about that unless you're really pernickety and you stop halfway through everything and wipe stuff down and that, and I don't know many folk that are quite that bad. Right, I'm happy with that. That's, hold on, I'm going to wipe my worktop at this point. And a wet cloth's all it takes. I'm actually quite lucky because I don't think I've got anything in the back. But there you go, that's roughly, I mean it's, I dare say if you were Tim Holtz you'd get that better, but I think that's reasonably good for what it is. So I'm quite happy with that layer of coverage. Right, so at this point I think I'll finish with my frayed burlap, and I'm going to actually cut it using that. So move all my stuff out there so I can use my Big Shot. Big Shot's just a wee bit to the side here. I've also got some new stamps that I've not used yet that I've still to put away. Second hand as always. This is for doing perpetual calendars, and that's just for journaling spots. I know folk are always interested in what kind of things you have. Didn't put my stamping platform away yet from this morning's video. Right, my Big Shot. Don't need a Big Shot to distress, you need the Big Shot because you're going to tap what I'm doing. Right, so I'm going to put that on my watercolour card, and I'm hoping when I do this that I'll have enough left at the top of this card. No, that's not straight. Sorry, I'm doing this the wrong way round. Just checking the underside to make sure it's cut, and it is. So, move all my wee bits of paper out of the way and move my Big Shot back. I will be using this card to stamp on. So let's have a look at what we've got here. Now the way it's, if I can find the card that came with it, where have I put it? You do get another wee die to put a wee panel on the front, but I'm not fussed about using that. I'm going to use this just as it is. The next thing I want to do to this is I want to distress around the edge. I'm going to use a darker shade of brown this time. Oh, sit down. A darker shade of brown. I'm going to use frayed burlap. No, I'm not. I'm using brush corduroy. And all I want to do is go around the edges to give it a bit of definition. Again, very light. Don't need to batter into anything when you're using distress ink. In fact, if you do batter into it, you'll make a mess. You're not going to get the results you're looking for. Very light-handed, always light-handed. That'll do for me for that. And what I actually want to do is I want to stamp down here. I've still got my stamping platform out from earlier, so I'm just going to use it because it'll make things that wee bit quicker for me. So I'm using a clear stamp, which means I need to keep my thingy in, or what do you call it, my foam. And where did I put my stamps? Oh, this is the problem when you just never put anything away. They're on my desk somewhere, not the ones I was showing you. Here we go. I actually dug out some stamps that I wanted to use. I've got a stamp with text, and I want to use that. I want to make sure I get it the right way up. Sometimes it's really difficult to tell when you're looking at that's us. Right, so I'm going to stick it on it like that, and obviously where the black is, where you're seeing the black just now, there isn't going to be anything stamped there because that's the gap. Now, as a rule, I don't normally use distress ink for stamping because you don't get that great a finish with it, but for this it's ideal. And I only ever buy the wee ones on the basis that I think I've only ever run out of vintage photo, and that's because I used it so much at the beginning. This, you'll see what I mean about you don't get a great definition when you use distress ink for stamping. It isn't brilliant, it's somewhat patchy. If you can see that up close, it's not brilliant. It'll do for this because this is exactly the kind of finish I'm looking for. Just give that a wee wipe. What I also want to do is, this is the one with the ink splotches if you've watched any of my other videos. And I love these ink splotches. I think they give you a really, really interesting finish to your work when you're talking about distress. They are absolutely top dog. Top dog. You'll see what I mean, you can really see them splotchy there, but that's distress ink, that's what it's like when you use it for stamping. It's not something that I would ordinarily use for stamping because generally speaking I prefer a crisper image, but this is exactly what I want from this. I'm going to just add another wee splotch up the top there. There we go, that'll do for me. Clean that off. Lid on the ink in case you make a mistake or you touch something you don't want to. Put your stamps away before you lose them. And believe you me, I know how to lose a stamp. Where's the other one? There it is. That's especially when they're clear stamps, it's really easy to put them down and lose where they are. Right, that's it. I'm going to have a wee tag to make with the bit that's left, but that's basically how to distress and the finish you get. I'm trying to zoom in here if I can, bear with me. Let me adjust that slightly. Just hold it up towards the camera. So that will go into one of my journals as a pocket, and obviously each wee slot there can hold a tag. So that's basic distress ink. Anything you need to know beyond that, give me a shout. If it's something I can answer, I will try to do so. If not, I'll point you in the direction of another video where you might learn what you want to hear. So thanks for your time. See you soon. Bye bye.